Lord.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Thank you for coming back. I apologize. I hope I'll get you back. If not, you can watch later. Welcome to today's episode. I apologize for that. It was a technical glitch on my behalf. I will say that it was not Denise's fault. It was my fault. I take 155. Can you do that?
Own it.
55%. I failed math, by the way. So it's okay. But anyway, yeah, seriously, welcome to today's episode. We're joined by an extraordinary guest whose story of survival, resilience, and healing is nothing short of inspiring, okay? From her challenging childhood marked by abuse by her mother to her journey of finding peace and purpose in her adulthood, she's learned how to navigate the complexities of trauma, secrecy, and self-worth. In her memoir, she dives deep into these experiences and the profound lessons that they taught her. Today, we'll explore her journey of survival, the evolution of respect, and the power of forgiveness. Let's get into it. Hey, welcome.
Hey.
Hi, welcome.
Hi, thank
I'm
you,
so
Tanya.
sorry for the glitch. I owe you like a whole month of promotions.
Oh no, that's okay. You know, the divine works like that for some reason.
It does. I don't know what second that delay was, but it was doing something. We're
It doesn't matter. It wasn't his timing.
Yes, that's it, and that's all. So take our viewers through some of your just a quick summary of your book, Out of Respect, guys, and you can get it on Amazon. We'll post it later, and you can ask me it later as well. So just give us a brief synopsis, so then we can go into more questions.
Well, basically, Out of Respect is a true story of a little girl's life, and walking through that story with her, and what it basically made her. And basically, it also took her to getting a fierce feeling that she had to take a stand for courage and family and faith, and all that goes along with it, and all the lessons that came out of that through her father's eyes, the fella's eyes, the neighborhood's eyes, or her eyes, or she went to God, or God, what is this, and
Right.
sometimes he would divinely guide.
Well, what was the part? I mean, I know you said in your book that your mom was abusive, but at what age, did you start realizing that that's what it was? Because usually when our parents spank us, we like, oh, no big deal, I'm being bad, and that's it.
Well, I believe she was a little abusive and dark. Let's put it dark. Maybe at the age of 6. But the age of 7, when she attempted to drown me, looking back, I'm laughing because I have that comic perspective.
Right.
So that's how I work through this,
Yeah. No.
Okay, your mama's drowning you. What's wrong with this picture?
Right.
And you it takes you a lifetime sometimes to even come to grips what's wrong with that picture, because you want to take it on you, all the shame, all the blame, it had to be me. I did something wrong, and all the while you didn't do anything wrong.
Nothing at all. Absolutely nothing. And how did your father's teachings shape your worldview in your survival strategies? How did they help in that?
Oh, they were pivotal. They were pivotal. They were the infrastructure.
Right.
He gave me, he always talked to me, which I really respected him for, talking to me like I was a little adult, even though he knew I was little. He talked to me like as if I was somebody else, not his daughter, and that always gave me a great perspective, and he always honored, what God was and what stood for, And like when I wasn't sure about going to confessional at a certain point in my life, because the priest would know my voice, and I think I want to go to just straight to God, And he
Right.
looked at me really weird, and he said, "Why would you say a thing like that?" I said, "Well, I don't know.
Mm.
I this guy knows my voice. I just feel comfortable." He said, "Listen, if you got to go straight to God," he said, "the priest is just like, he's like a bookie, like he's a middleman. You know what I mean? Don't worry about the priest." And I said, "Well, what would I say in communion?"
Right.
And he looked at me and he goes, "Are you okay?" I said, "Yes." And he said, "Well, what does he say now?" And just like this, but like in a loving way.
Right.
And four Hail Marys, two Our Fathers. Well, double it up, he said.
Your father sounds hilarious.
Yeah, but he really had a respect for it. But at the
Mhm.
same time, that's how it was ingrained in his DNA for some reason.
Mhm.
And even when he was at war, wherever he was, that comedic, nucleus, like that was his, the way he absorbed anything bad. You
Okay.
see,
That's
and
where you probably got your humor from.
exactly, he flipped that script, Tanya, from the beginning,
Mm.
and
Mm.
then thereby teaching me,
Right.
you
Right.
know,
Right.
he would
Now, was
say,
he gone a lot? Was he gone a lot? And maybe is.
well, in the beginning he was, because until the drowning, and then until they had that first impact,
Oh,
um, he was, but he wasn't. He was always there, and somebody was always there. He
right.
would like have somebody look over me, but
Okay.
I don't know if he ever. You know what it was? He Ruth sold him a bill of goods. She was a ruse,
Hmm.
you know.
Right.
And really, my father was a dear man, and he stepped up as he should and as he wanted to, and as I'm thankful that he did.
Hmm.
And um, it was
Did he
plus.
get you out of that situation?
Well, he didn't know about that situation because I
Okay.
wouldn't let him. I would die
Right.
before that, because
Right.
I saw what happened that night that she did that.
Right.
After that night, she would hit me or lock me down in the basement,
Mhm.
and I would scream, "Just let me out." And that was at 6. But then I realized by the time I was in that bathroom with her
Mhm.
what that was leading up to,
Mhm.
and that was the first time in the basement that I just instinctively lied to my father.
Mhm.
And that was a heavy carry, you
Right.
know.
Right.
And I was like, well, I had to, because I had it. I must be a bad girl,
Right.
you know.
Do you think maybe subconsciously as a kid, maybe you thought he would really hurt her if he knew what he was doing to you?
No, I knew he would. Forget
Mhm.
subconsciously. That's
Right. Well, I'm being
the,
nice.
the re-
Remember, we're on YouTube and
Right. Well,
we're
all right.
censored.
All right. Well, like I said, this is raw, rough, and real, and it is, and that's the whole thing.
Right.
The passion he had, my father, for
Mhm.
life and people, he had that like quadruple passion for me, and
Mm.
it showed in his actions.
Mm.
You know,
Right.
he
Well,
maybe said "I loved you" a couple of times, but every single day he showed up as
uh,
much as he could to show me he loved me.
he sounds like a great dad, man.
Well, he
Well,
was to me and
wow.
a lot of people.
Well, the thing is, I mean, I know I'll talk more about that too. Maybe I'll save that for later. How even in the midst of something going on, tragedy in your house. So for anybody listening who may be a victim of anything, it could be anything. And if you have, and this is why community is so important. We'll talk about. I wanted to wait till I got to you telling me about the neighborhood. So maybe I'm jumping the gun a little bit, but it's so important to have community, aunts and uncles, friends show up
Absolutely.
because while the other stuff is going on in a 6-year-old's lives or 7-year-old's life or a 5-year-old's life, if there is one
They saved
Positive,
my life.
yes, positive feeling of love, feeling of
Right.
value, feeling of worth. You can override all that negative stuff.
That's how you
Oh,
bring that hope in, which
yes,
is the fabric of trying to get through that. That
exactly,
hope then breeds faith, and then
exactly.
you try to walk it. But if you didn't have that special person, like you said, it
Hard.
wouldn't happen.
Yeah,
Um,
it's hard
it,
without
it, it just had to be in order, that's how the story played out.
that. In what way did your relationship with your mom influence your sense of self-worth and identity?
Well, that's ironically, that's a little joke I have in my set.
Oh,
Like
okay.
my mother, um, my father, my mother prepared me for the the things you would never think to say,
Mhm.
um, for the hate and the greed and whatever she wanted. She was a control freak and
Mhm.
she was a narcissist.
Mhm.
I'm looking back now, now I'm not 7 and she's drowning me or throwing me out of a car or beating the shit out of me or not even, it was just she was a narcissist,
Okay.
and that brings along a lot of habits
Mm.
with that, diagnosis or that label or that brand. There's a lot of symptoms, that
Yes.
get involved with that.
Yes. And I bet you she learned it from someone in her house.
Exactly,
Just
exactly.
passed it on. That's why it's important people to
Generational,
always,
generational.
yes, generational trauma. And if you do not heal it, I guarantee you it's going to show up. And sometimes, it's sad because you see, you were only child, or there was you had another sibling.
Well, that's an
Mhm.
interesting question you would ask.
Okay.
Um, I, when she rused him into marrying her, conned him into marrying her,
Mhm.
I didn't know she was like 2, 3 months pregnant. I didn't know that until, I mean, then we hopped till my age of, 50.
Mhm.
And well,
Wait,
no,
so she was your stepmother?
no,
Oh, this
that's
was your
so.
mom, right?
Well,
That's
you would trip because I think a stepmother I would have welcomed
right,
in that scenario. Then I forgave her since,
right,
but
right.
really,
Wow,
I mean, we're talking. Forget
wow,
about it.
wow. And so you were able to forgive her before. Is she still alive? Passed or whatever? So
She's passed, but I never really knew her real age.
okay,
But I got to the point where I had to forgive her,
yeah,
and that was a big ask.
yeah. That's
And
basically.
God was asking that of me.
Well, did she ask, or you just wanted to ask? You just wanted
No,
to.
no, no. She wrote it in her will that I was not allowed to go because her. It's really hard to say.
Wow, I'm sorry.
Her name for me was a derogatory name.
What?
Started with an N, so
I got,
with an S as in her
got you.
slave.
I got you.
That whole
Oh my
mentality.
gosh.
Then
Gee,
she was. I'm not going to lie. She abused substance, and and they're all the reasons why I never got into all that. You know,
right,
I mean, everybody's out there with Barbies and Kens and going to little school and
right,
playing in the street, and I'm in this house trying
right.
to figure out how to negotiate this or saying,
Yeah.
"What's wrong with me?"
Mm.
And
Wow.
that was young on, and then took me to 7 years old,
What?
second grade, and that was the trauma there, where was she wanted to
Mhm.
drown me.
Well, that's it sounds to
It's
me,
a
and
great scene.
right. Listen, this says, I mean, this was you, like you said it. Mommy's dearest meets Bronx Tale. I think you said.
That it's
I mean,
yeah, it's
this is like,
mommy. It's
whew,
Bronx Tale and Mommy Dearest and Goodfellas all like an
oh,
orgy.
and Goodfellas. Wow.
I mean, that's what it is because I would go there. I would sit there and go, I, you know, this
Wow.
excuse me, this stuff happens to me. You
Right.
know, Oh well, I didn't think it was not normal then.
Right.
It wasn't until I was say 13, 14, I started to say, we're definitely different,
Right, right. Something's going on here.
you
Yeah,
know,
because
we're
a lot of
definitely,
times, excuse me, kids are, I call it, excuse me for using this word, but they're groomed into abuse and all kinds of abuse. So
mm-hmm,
they don't even know. I've seen people, even in domestic violence, who are so groomed into it, and as adults, by the way, that they don't even know that they're actually portraying it back on somebody else.
exactly.
So they have to, until you get the therapy and the help, you can be looping this one around for a while. It's I'm sorry that you of all people went through that, but
Well,
I'm
I did
sure,
it. I did it. It took a
yeah,
long time.
yeah, yeah, and you've saved and changed a lot of lives. I'm sure, knowing your personality that I know of so far, I'm sure that it was not all in vain, and that's the part that
No,
we need to understand.
that's what keeps me going and gives me hope. I
Yes,
mean, I need something to feed off of, just like everybody else. We all need the same thing, and that's
exactly.
that hope and that, courageous, just tenacious
Yes,
personality that,
yes,
somebody keeps pushing you. It's just like, you know, um, Seuss, Dr. Seuss, or whatever it is. He kept going to the author, but it was almost 1,000 times,
mm,
and somebody finally said yes. It only takes one yes,
one
no
time.
matter what it is in your life.
Mm-hmm. Great.
Because if you want to get free, you got to learn the lessons of the game
Mm-hmm.
and play the hand.
And play the hand. You said it. You said it best, baby. What role did the neighborhood code of respect play in your upbringing, and how did it affect your interactions with other people?
Well,
That's important.
and that's a heavy question. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Because initially, um, I you were not sure what to think of the neighborhood, because they're the people that love you and do this, but then you
Yeah.
see this or that or this,
Yes.
and
Yes.
you're wondering, and you're a kid like me who
Mm-hmm.
escaped into their world, yet I'm not in their world yet because I'm
Right.
still young. But then as 8 years old, 9, 10, 11, I started to, get more involved, and I put a puzzle together.
Mm.
But one day it hit me over the head. So
Mm. Mm. Wow. How now? So yeah. Well, see, I was going to say back to that statement I made earlier about the neighborhood. Now, I have a lot of friends whose fathers were respected in their Italian neighborhoods. I'll say just like that. And
just
it's an interesting comparison because when you have your community behind you, it doesn't matter what the hell's going on in your life, you can
it
get through
means so much.
so much. It makes big difference. People don't understand when you don't have anybody in your corner and your house life is jacked up and both parents are jacked up. How about that?
How about
And
that?
your family's jacked up and you
And
have
then
no
you become,
pops.
yeah, then you start to have problems and get
Yes,
jacked
you
up.
internalize, and now you're going to start having little holes that where things seep out. Addiction, finding the wrong mates, participating in bad things, all those things
Right.
start coming through
Yeah,
because
shame,
yeah,
everything, everything.
yeah, I totally see it. And, people always say, well, what made you survive after abuse and blah, blah, blah. And I said, well, my abuse is a little different than yours. That had two foster brothers instead of a mom. But I had my dad, while I have the abuser telling me I'm ugly, stupid, and worthless, never be anything. I had my dad telling me every day, you're the prettiest girl around every day.
Right. Exactly.
So
Exactly.
yeah, it really, really,
You
and I
need that.
didn't get
It's
to tell him
weird, but
that.
it's an evil and an angelic balance. I mean,
Yes.
it is the dark and the light
Yeah.
fighting on that.
Yes. But that's why it's important. Like that was my foster father, but I call him my forever dad. He's the only real dad I've known that's treated me like a daughter. So that's why I call him my dad. But like had he been a jerk or something, then it would have been a whole nother outcome, right?
Right. Right.
So and that's so important. My neighbors, I have so many neighbors, the Tuckers, the Lees. I have so many neighbors that I can tell you that from my church to my block that they don't even know some of them. Miss Clayton that passed, RIP, bless her soul. So many people, Mr. Tucker. I mean, I could think 500 people who I know distinctly, had they not been my neighbors, or my friends, some of them, my friends, I would have turned out totally different, hands down.
Mhm.
But because I had a community, even when chaos was going on over here, it was overridden as soon as I stepped foot out of the door and started playing with my friends, or my dad popped in or it said, come for a ride with me. You're going to come with me to work, or, whatever those things, as soon as that happened, switched off. This other thing switched off, and I didn't care about for that moment. It was, this is what I'm going to have. The happiness is what I follow. Right.
Exactly. Ditto.
So, yeah. So
Yep.
anybody watching, realize that you're being kind to a kid who you don't have no idea is going through trauma at home, it's being bullied at school, wherever it's at, it could be anywhere, that your kindness, your smile, it matters. It matters. I don't care what anybody says. And
yes, it's adding to their hope, because it did mine.
Yes.
Whether unbeknownst or, unbeknownst, it was that is what layered up and made a backbone for me, in addition to what I had.
Yes, to your dad. Your dad definitely made that backbone.
I knew what doors were open to me, and where I had a room or food or conversation, or at one point, a place to go for a cover.
Right. Wow. Well, how did your humor work as a coping mechanism during your challenging childhood? How did your humor come in?
Well, I watched my father. He was always funny. I mean, I was snapping my fingers at 2, and he's like, my daughter can dance. That's it. We got it down. He was all about that. Louis Prima, he loved his jazz. He loved his top. I mean, he was that kind of guy. And he was always quite dapper. I mean, he would dress, during in the morning, well, he had a few businesses. He was a racketeer, who we're not going to hide. Right. He's too old, and he's upstairs.
Bless your soul, sir.
Both my heavenly Father and my earthly Father.
Yes. Happy Father's Day in heaven, Mr. De Stefano.
Exactly. Thank you, Daddy.
Yes.
As they would say, yo, Paulie, what's up?
Oh, Paulie.
So, he was there, and because he was there in that way, that showed me what he did. And he liked to laugh. He liked to be happy. I saw that, and it was contagious. So I held on to that, and I watched how he interacted with people. So that was a form of how I became a great businesswoman, a negotiator, a troubleshooter. I mean, his eyes, became my eyes. What still are.
Yeah, that sounds like it. I mean, that's like, you're like a father's daughter-son dream.
Well, that's why I became his son. In the book, it explains.
I can't wait.
I'm the son my daughter and my father never had, and I became that. And that was a little weird, because you begin to parent that parent, and it was a little trippy, but it was also a good balance for me, because in that process, when you're that little, denial, or as they call the white lie that I don't say anymore, but that all mattered to me, but not to really what's really essential.
Wow. And when it comes to faith, what significance did faith have in your healing process and your personal growth?
That's all there is faith. Faith is the center, to me, faith walks from where that cross was in that in that ground, and we laid our sins on it. That's faith, and to keep going and not to look back. And that's what my father used to say. Why do you look back when you look in a rear view mirror? Is it not little compared to the shield that you have to go forward? And that was like that was deep in the 60s. I mean,
that was very deep in the 60s.
I mean, I'm 6 years old, and he's like, See, Daddy, this is the lesson, because every day came a lesson or two, and then
Right.
he would like revisit it before
Right.
the end of the day to cap it off.
Right.
That was that was one of my
I
favorite
just
things.
I laugh. And I know it's not to be funny, but I used to laugh at was it like The Godfather when I watched The
Ah,
Godfather, and
yeah.
and they were like stench Catholic, but yet they have like bodies everywhere. It's like, wait, what? Wait,
Well, there's
why are you at
confessional.
confession?
That's
Because you're
they're
just gonna
out
do it
every
again.
Saturday. Confessional.
It
That's what.
may it's a great parody. I can make a great parody with that one.
Yeah, yeah. I agree.
Father, I have sinned. Forgive me. You're back again. This is like the third, 300th time. What's going on?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
So I'm sorry. So just forgive me. I crack up, and not just that, not just Catholicism, other religions too. So not just one. It's all of them. I laugh. The priests. I mean, come on, we can go forever.
As long
You
as
know?
I mean, he knows there's glory in his name, and no matter how his word gets around, and if it has to be through, I mean, that was a gift he gave people.
Wow, wow, that's crazy. I love it. Can you remember moments in your book where your resilience was really evident, like where something happened, like the tub? I'm sure is one example, but I'm sure there's many more.
That's not the biggest, though.
Oh,
Uh,
it's not.
no.
What? Oh
Look at
my
your
God,
eyes.
girl,
I
girl.
wish, girl, I wish. We all have our wish list.
Mm,
Anyway, but that's why I had to treat myself like a computer ever
mhm.
ever since that attempted drowning, because I was under, and it was just divine. And that's how I saw it, because he
Okay,
wasn't supposed to come home for 2 days from
okay.
Maryland. They were
Uh-huh.
heisting trucks, to be quite honest, you
Oh
know. And
God.
I knew that he was gone, but I didn't know how long when I was a child.
Right, right.
Now, because I document, whatever. So she was in with me, and that happened. And when I was under, I saw the bubbles. I saw that I couldn't breathe. I'm
Mhm.
underwater. And
Ooh.
then she picked my head up, and then she was gonna. Oh, then I fell. But the point is that he came in at the exact time that he needed to come in, but I
So,
didn't even know was there.
so he could see that something's happening without you having to say it.
Well, he said to her, "What's going on?" She said, "Nothing." I smacked her. She wants, Buster Brown shoes now.
Hmm.
And my father said, "Well, if she wants Buster Brown shoes, she'll get Buster Brown shoes." I
Hmm.
mean, that's how he rolled.
Hmm.
You know,
Hmm.
it wasn't a big thing,
Mm.
um, because my father, maybe it was not the best trait, but a great trait. And I saw what he did through it was he would pay it forward or do this for this person. You don't
Right,
expect anything back.
right.
And I used to sometimes expect back, and he said, "Daddy, you can't do that because, it's not on you. You're here
Mm.
to serve." So
Right,
that's how I looked at it. And he said, "If it comes back to you, it comes back to you. Then it's a blessing."
right. Wow, wow, wow. So so when he walked in, because now I have to get the book. I haven't read it. I haven't been able to read all of it, but I got to get it now because I'm like, wait a minute, when he came in, what happened? But I don't want you to tell the whole book, I guess. All right, fine. So now you know why you got to go get this book, guys, because I'm serious. We're missing some good stuff.
But the thing that really did it was the all her games and everything in the book, and that was before. But
Mhm,
when I was there, and I think it was 11 years old.
mhm,
I was 11 years old.
mhm.
Was I 11? I think I was.
Oh,
And it's in the book. I'm thinking because 13 I was raped.
oh,
Okay, but that was, but not by any
I don't
like.
know if we can say that word on YouTube, so they might censor it, but it's okay. Go ahead.
Okay,
I can do it live.
All
welcome.
right. So
Something about-
sorry about
oh,
that.
go ahead.
And
That.
sorry about that.
This is-
Um, so I I was talking about.
yes,
Okay. So I realized that um, I lost my stream in
that's
my
it.
head.
Oh, in your head. Okay, that's okay. It happens. I had
If you give me a word, I'll recall.
I had asked, well, no, I was going to get to the next thing. It's like
Well, go
asking,
ahead. Hop along.
go ahead, go ahead. Don't worry. We'll come back to that. How did growing up in South Philly during the 1960s and 70s influence your experience and your outlook on life?
I loved everybody. I loved people. We were like, the neighborhood was the crew. The
Mm,
crew was the hub. The hub was,
I
it was the true OG in my, that's, I consider myself an OG.
right.
And only because, and, you could say you have the MOB with you. You could say I have street smarts,
Yeah.
but it's really God that counts.
Mm.
And no matter where or whether they're murderers in uh, prison or they're not, um, they believe, they have
Mm.
faith,
Mm.
and
See, I'm. Mhm.
that's the connection.
Mm.
Faith and love and hope. You
Mm.
can live anything and believing, but it's the community around you, because you start to lose that community.
Mm.
And then you have to build your own. And then if your own, the reservoir is out, then you have to be strategic.
Mm. Wow. So the impact, the presence of the local guys, and well, because I don't like to say the G word, the local guys in church they made you have a sense of safety and belonging.
Yes. Well, they did. Yeah, they can. You said church. You meant separate.
Yes, and then,
Yeah.
because that's everybody would go to confession. So that's usually, and
Well,
even then,
no, I didn't go to confession because I didn't believe. I just went to God, and that's what began my prayer. And I didn't know it, that was praying, is talking to God and speaking with God. And because in Catholicism, at least in my parish, we weren't really with always the Bible open, but we were the most in that church, I'll tell you that much. But at the same time, it was your relationship you formed with God.
yeah, I mean, relationships, everything. I mean, I became a Quaker, so you probably don't want my thoughts on it. But it is all good. Whatever works for us is what works for us. And I always say, whatever we got to do to get through our childhood, do it. So what?
Hoping.
Huh? Well, I'm saying, like, me, I'm one of the people, like, even when some people say they're Christian, I'm like, show me, don't tell me. So I'm
See,
one.
I'm an action person, and that's what my dad was,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
that's what it came down to, you
right.
know.
Yeah,
You
no, it's very
say
important.
you can have 1,000 intentions, but nothing happens.
Yes, exactly. No, it's definitely it's I mean, it's all discretionary, I'll say. And that's just me. Some people disagree with me, some people don't. I'm just, show me your actions. Your actions tell me everything I need to know. So that's
Exactly.
that's it. So what were some of the key milestones in your journey from childhood to adulthood? Some of the important things.
Well, having my clothes ripped off by my mother, aka Ruth, and being thrown out on an August afternoon,
Mm-hmm.
and 68, 69, very dramatic she was, because her thing was, you came into this world and you're going out the same way. And
Right.
the thing was, is wait, the daddy bought me these clothes, and it was, no, I did. And I said, well, let me get mine that I bought. And she goes, you
Mm.
didn't buy anything, you don't own anything. And when
Uh,
she did that, I went into a different world.
it's crazy.
So I just one foot in front of the other. Just I'm right now. I'm a racehorse,
Right.
and I have my shades here,
Right.
and that's how you run that. You
Well,
know,
that's good because that is you did your survival mechanism, which is just focus on what's in front of me right now, get through today, get through this moment. That's it. Because sometimes you can't chunk off the whole thing and be like, "Well, I'm going
can't
to get
do
out of
it.
this situation," because it ain't going to
You
happen.
can't
Not
even think about it. You just have to react to that and know that there's still support there and where it is.
exactly. And you have to grab the straws that you have. So you had your dad, you had the community, and it seems like you took good advantage of them in a good way, where you said, "I'm going to take these valuable lessons. I'm going to take this," instead of just,
Right.
so most people would not wallow in a bad way or a derogatory way, but they would wallow because, and normally so, and respectfully, I understand. But most human beings would just be like, I just can't beat this. This is never going to happen for me. I can't, I won't, I can't.
But
But
they
you
did teach
a
me
whole
how
nother,
to be fearless and never give up.
right,
I mean, and that's how I step into a situation.
right. And that's important. That's everything. And what's our takeaway from our viewers is you heard it. I mean, this is, you can survive literally anything. I've heard the most craziest stories that you've ever heard. This is just one of them, but I've heard others. I mean, literally, that you would say, "What is that possible? A father could do that?" The things that you would never even imagine. You can't even use your imagination in a movie for this. But guess what? They grabbed the straws, and that's what I did in childhood. I just grab whatever is good. I just grab it and run, and then I'll think about the other stuff later as it comes up.
Absolutely.
But you're amazing, man. You're so amazing. How did you transition from survivor of abuse to successful entrepreneur and advocate? Because I know you do that too.
Well, I've just honed all my passion I had and
Mhm.
anger all
Mhm.
whipped up in one
Okay.
makes for a good cake. It
Yeah. Yeah.
really does, that recipe.
Yes.
And I could have went bad or I
Right.
could have went good.
Right.
And because I wanted to prove Ruth wrong, you can't do this. You're not worth this. You can't do. You're not. Whoever told you you were pretty? Whoever told you they loved you?
Wow.
I brought the wrong child home from that hospital, and you
Mhm.
hear that.
Right.
That I'd rather take a beating.
Right.
It's easier because it doesn't stick in deep in the soul,
Right. Yes. That's
and
stays
so
forever.
that takes a lot. And with her doing that to me and watching the guys and my father handle situations, we're
Mhm.
like, wait a minute, I could figure this out, and
Right.
like, Sam the number writer showing me how to profile a person by going through their trash
Right.
at 9. Whoever heard of such a thing? Well, for me, it was a great game. But then I'm thinking to myself, now when am I ever going to use that? And then I found myself using it 20 some years later.
Mm.
And it was truly, it was very cathartic.
Right. Wow. It's you I think you're amazing, and you're a good testament to human spirit. What does the concept of respect mean to you? And how did it guide you in your actions and your decisions?
Respect is honor.
Mm.
I
Mm.
honor my father, and that's
Mhm.
God first. And you can't have a relationship between two beings or two people, in my POV
Right.
point of
Mhm.
view, if you don't have respect, honor, and love. If you
Mm.
don't have those three things, and those three things, they muster together like a
Mm.
mustard seed,
Right.
is that support.
Mm.
And so you get that safety you get all that in a nutshell,
Mm.
and the opposite is not true.
No, absolutely. So, wow, it's amazing. What lessons can readers learn from your experiences, and how can they apply them to their own lives?
Well, the book, excuse me, is very relatable.
Mm-hmm.
And feel like I'm losing my voice. My
That's
The book is very relatable,
mm-hmm.
and I really open up and tell my readers, let me know what you think.
Mm-hmm.
Write a review. If you don't want to write a review, send me something, or
Mm-hmm.
call me, or messenger me, and text me, because on um, the website, you can do that, and they always say to me, it's unbelievable. But
Right.
that part in chapter 6, and where you talked about there, I that just hit me in the gut, you
Mm-hmm.
know. But it made me feel good, or this is how I felt,
Mm-hmm.
or that would open up the conversation, because that immediately just let them drop all their shields and shells of fear, because they're
Mm-hmm.
safe. They automatically knew they were safe.
Right. Wow.
So they
Wow.
approached me,
Mm-hmm.
um, and because my book has a POP at certain places, and they approached me,
Right.
and after, and then, or they talk to their 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 hairdresser, and their, you know he- and he says to me, he said, Denise, you got to start answering these questions, or have something like this, because your audience is out there. And I did have people reach out so I can help them, but
Mm-hmm.
I need to do it on such a higher level,
Mm-hmm.
and because that I did it before.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gearing up and launching to do it again in conjunction with my audiobook.
Oh, that's going to be fantastic. Wow. Yeah, that's going to be great. So your book, was there a hard part to write? Was there a hard chapter to relive?
Um, well, the rape, it all, I'm not connected to it,
Right. Okay.
but there were certain parts,
Right. Okay.
like when she threw me out of the car.
Threw you out the car. Whoa.
Yeah. It- that was a little rough, no pun intended.
Right. No,
Seriously,
I got
I
you.
laugh because that's my coping mechanism. I
You have to.
mean, that's how I see it in a different frame,
Right.
more as a producer creator than
Right.
I do a writer, than I
Right.
do as the recipient and child
Right.
that was
Right.
in it. You
Mm.
know,
Well, how old were you then?
the time she threw me out of the car,
Yeah.
I was 12 years old.
Jesus Lord. Oh wow. Thank you, God. You survived. Ah. Oh my God.
But it was, she wasn't going that fast. And when I said that, my first therapist, because I went to one to see what the grade was,
Right.
and I said, well, she didn't burn me or anything, wasn't that bad. And she
Right.
said, listen to what you're saying,
Exactly.
and
Exactly.
I went like this, Tiny. I was like, what am I saying? It
Yeah.
was,
Because you got
and
so complacent with and used to it that you didn't even know that it was a problem. So that's
exactly.
okay.
And
That's okay because that's your is a trip that God put the universe puts in our body. I think to protect us from trauma
well,
and literally going
I'm
insane.
glad that you said that, because it was crazy. I always felt the spirit on me. I really did, since I was 4,
Hmm.
and I would say, is this for real?
Yes.
And I would think, and I would say, well, and I used to say, God wouldn't give this to me, and He doesn't think I'm a bad girl.
Right.
So I believe, and I believe.
Right. Wow. Hmm.
Hope. You see what I
Well,
mean?
yeah. Wow. It's just. I mean, yeah, I think she might have known, and maybe that's why she didn't take to you so much because she didn't like your spirit and jealousy. I think not jealousy like you're
No,
pretty,
you
but the
no, you
jealousy
got
like
it.
yeah,
My
jealousy like your dad pays attention.
my
Don't
father,
you?
it was, the more he did for me, the more. and harder the beatings were.
Right. I
So
can imagine.
that's how you can grade it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Wow. Your memoir, it reveals some complex interplay of silence and survival. How did the unspoken rules in your household shape your understanding of truth and secrecy?
Well, it showed me that everything has to be a secret because nobody wants to talk to anybody.
Right.
Whether that was between my mother and my father, or my uncles and my aunts,
Right.
or you just, it's like sort of like a way of life, but
Right.
it shouldn't have been.
Right.
And then, but because I was part of the family and their families, because I would be able to go in and say, "I'm here. You want to eat? Yeah, I want to eat."
Right.
So it was real easy, easy,
Mm.
and not easy as in a child bearing that, but
Right.
easy as the flow of it.
Right.
So, and that made it bearable,
Right.
the
Right.
hits and the blows.
Right, right. Well, you bypassed what normal people would say. It's a great defense mechanism. I think our maker, creator, whoever made us, whatever made us, knew what it was doing because people don't realize, sometimes it's like sort of like an ignoring of what's going on or kind of candy coating it. And it's not a bad thing.
It's not that
It's
bad.
a
Right.
survival thing. It's a
Right.
survival thing because if you said to yourself, wait, what? That's my mom and she's doing what? You might flip out and never come back.
Yeah, yeah. You could go deep, but you can't go too deep because that
Exactly.
too deep will knock you
You
off the
get
cliff when you're
schizophrenia,
not ready.
you get addiction, all kinds of stuff. Start putting yourself on the block. I mean, all kinds of stuff come out when you realize what's really going on. That's when the 7:30 comes in, I believe, and that's when it's like some people they don't see it, but I totally understand why some people can go off on the way deep end because they saw the light, the real light. They
Oh,
didn't
yeah, and I saw that light because another a point would be the time I wanted to kill her and I planned out her death. I
Mhm.
mean, that was like
Off her, off her. That's the
I
name.
would not kill her. That's right.
Off
I
her, off
I
her.
don't do
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
All right. Uh,
Exactly. Off.
well, sorry if
I
they
know it's crazy, but YouTube has this thing. They won't play your video if you say certain words because the bots know it's a word you say. They
are
look
they
for it.
gonna not play her video now?
Well, don't worry. I got it. I'm going to get, if I have to go back and edit it, I will. Don't worry about that. Don't worry.
Okay, so
Just,
so it's just that, yeah,
wow.
that
Wow.
that's the
And what
way.
stopped you from doing it?
Again, divine, a
Divine intervention.
divine intervention.
Mm-hmm.
And again, he was supposed to be down in Atlantic City or wherever he was supposed to be. I couldn't go with him. And well, actually, he was also, I should say, in the hospital, but he just, my father never, he said, the day I go to a hospital is the day I die.
Oh,
And
no.
he was so right. And because he would never go to a hospital, but he had a couple of heart attacks, a few heart
Oh,
attacks,
oh,
and a massive stroke. And then he
yeah.
died from a serious stroke,
Mm.
and he was in a coma. But that one time, he defied the doctors,
Mhm.
and he did his thing. And I just sat back and I said,
Wow.
you
Wait,
know,
so you passed. You left alone with just your mom?
yeah, that's the crazy thing because I didn't want to.
Oh,
Um, I'm saying to myself, if I ever tell him, because at 8,
right.
people say, "Why didn't you tell him? Why didn't you tell him?"
That
Well,
makes
I
sense.
don't want to see my father get killed and then her kill me because she used to put guns in my head. She had a gun. So
Right.
when
You
you're
just
in
never know.
a
Yeah.
situation, you don't. I mean, you're 8,
You don't
9
have
years
you don't have to
old.
make it. You don't have to tell us anything. I totally get it.
I
There's
don't
this
mind because
it
I
spreads
talk
without
about.
even saying anything.
Yeah, when
Yeah.
I go and I talk about the book, or I go somewhere and I because I wrote like hundreds of pages and you just can't tell it all in one book.
Right.
But you could lay it out where you're saying, okay, I see the story, and wow.
Right. Wow. Well, I know that must have been very hard to write. Whew. Because there's so much to unlayer. But I'm so
Well,
proud of you for
there
doing it.
was a point that I had to write it, that
Mhm.
I knew that I had to, and that's when um, just a spoof, and they saw that they locked up the wrong person, but it was a Friday afternoon. So I headed down to, I copped the case and went downtown,
Wow.
and there you go.
Wow.
Unrelated felony with attempted murder. I
Yeah.
didn't do it. They
Right.
knew I didn't do it,
Right.
but they didn't know them. They found out, but they wouldn't listen to me. I said, contact this detective in precinct so and so.
Right. Right.
He'll tell you who I am.
Right.
Okay. And they go, we can't bother him. I said, bother him.
Right. Especially if, like, yeah. Especially if I'm locked up. Hello. So you've worked in a range of industries and roles, from comedy to healthcare. How did your ability to read people develop early out of necessity and serve you professionally?
Um, I think my reading of people started, I mean, just innately when I was hanging out with these people, but it really came to my eyes, and I understood when Sam, the number writer, brought
Mm-hmm.
it down to one person,
Mm-hmm.
and, a village of people, if you would, and
Mm-hmm.
say, this is this person. They have certain things about them. You have to know about that person to understand. And my father would say, and I would have questions, and he would explain things to me, like, why, why is somebody going to hit that guy, and and he'll break it down. But and I learned from the guys, yo, kid, you're not making any, um you see your hands over there, go ahead, rip these papers up. And
Yeah.
I said to my, I used to say to myself, I must be the youngest, paper shredder around. I mean,
That's actually, yeah. You have a good material to work on that.
I'm serious. I'm serious.
So in your book, your neighborhood code of respect carries a lot of layered meanings. How
Yeah.
has your definition of respect evolved since childhood? Since
Well,
those,
since when though, specifically?
yeah. Well, I'm saying from childhood to now, has it evolved? Because I'm sure
Oh well,
it's a little bit different now.
it was just like, iron that was sharpened. You know what I mean? It was just like, it was always an arrow.
Right, right, right.
And but it got sharper and sharper and sharper. The fire makes it flexible, and you just mold it.
Right,
Just like
right.
God, molds us.
Wow,
Okay.
wow. So you
Because
um
I believe I was meant to be born into that family. There's a
absolutely
certain type of person that could deal with that. I'm amazed that I never was into, I, not that they're wrong, but
right,
for me, they were wrong,
right, right. I get that.
antidepressants and stuff like that. But I went through intensive therapy,
Mhm.
to overcome all those things.
Right. I get it. Totally get it. Wow. And that's important part, the
and
therapy.
and that's why the secrets continued and continued, because it was easy to say, whoever they thought you were, okay, that's nice.
Wow. Wow.
And
Whew.
sometimes not, but
Mhm.
it always was, you had to read the room.
Right. Exactly. Reading the room is very important. Very, very important. Um, so we're getting there. We're gonna get there, sister. We're gonna get there. Many survivors, they struggle with forgiveness. Um, and I know you said you found peace with your mom and her actions. And what does
Absolutely.
forgiveness mean for you today?
Well, God allowed me to have see that peace, or
Mm,
else I would have went off the wrong end. I
Right.
that. But what makes me ask me that
What
question?
does forgiveness mean for you today?
Forgiveness.
Or
Well,
today?
if you can't forgive the person, you're
Mhm.
not going to have freedom within your soul. You're
Mm,
not going to feel love, hope. You have to really forgive. It is so hard to lay a situation down,
mm,
you know,
mm.
and you have to forgive the person. I don't forget.
Exactly.
Okay, I have to admit it. You can't unsee something.
Yes.
You see, it's impossible.
Mm, mm, mm. Yeah.
But I just, and the faith part, and, the constant prayer, and, I truly love people, and I love, nature. And I know we're here for a reason,
Mm, also.
unified, and, together we're stronger. And
Mm.
I always believed in numbers. South Philly mentality was, if there's more of us, then we have a better shot.
Right. And that's true.
This,
So writing your memoir, it's both an act of courage and exposure. Were there parts of your story that were especially difficult to revisit and reveal? And how did you work through those moments? Again, I asked you something similar earlier.
well, it was hard for me to understand and reveal when she abducted me and she set me up, and then she, I was with supposedly aunt and uncle
Mhm.
that weren't really aunt and uncle, but Uncle Charles was a really good guy, reminded me of my father. But
Okay.
it was fine. But it wasn't, because she had a heist going on in her head, a
Wow.
clothing heist. I mean, it was insane. And I thought I was in Jersey, but I was in Palisades Park from New York. I mean,
That was
the
amazing.
whole thing was so I just take you on the journey with me.
Oh, I can't wait to read this book.
And that's why
Yeah,
it's an onion. That's why
yeah.
it's an onion. There's
Gotta get
no
this book.
way you could fit this. I mean, my first draft was 500 pages. I couldn't do it. And
Wow.
that's hard for a writer to have to
Yeah,
share.
500 is a lot. Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
but
I've only,
I'm not Barbara or Cher. Nobody's going to read my memoir that thick.
yeah,
But
500 pages is a lot. That's a hard one.
so, yeah, anybody out there, yeah,
How many did you get it down to?
8-part series, Netflix. What? I'm sorry.
How many pages you got it down to?
That would No, I shaved it to 300 for the book.
Okay, yeah, 300 is
Yeah,
good. Yeah,
yeah, and it was 300 pages, not 300 pages, so it would be maybe 285. Because
right, right.
there's individual pages, from pages, you
I got
know,
you. I got you. That's amazing. Wow. How do you,
forward, introduction.
yep, I got all that. Yep, I know. It's a beautiful. The cover's amazing. I love it.
It's
Um,
from an original photograph.
I know people don't realize the value of photographs, how they help jog your memory. They help bring back good memories. There's so many reasons to have good old photos. I take pictures of my grand all the time. They're like, "Why are you taking so many pictures?" Because I want them to say 30 years from now, "Oh, there's grandma. Oh, there's grandma. Oh, there's grandma." That's all.
Exactly.
That's all I want to remember is grandma. That's it. So here's the thing. After all that, how do you care for your mental health and your emotional health now? Like what practices keep you centered as you continue to share your story publicly?
Actually, it's trying to help people free themselves, because I wish I had people
Mhm.
like me that would reach out.
Mhm.
But say again that.
Well, just how do you care for your mental health and your
Yeah,
emotional
well, me,
yoga
I'm
or just
still,
writing?
no, dance,
Mhm.
writing, and also, I'm once a week. I make sure that I'm always tapped in. Writing, comedy mainly.
Oh, good. So
Uh,
you're still active in comedy.
yes,
Oh,
and
that's
yeah,
awesome.
but I'm revisiting my projects that are already done, and then I just haven't had the attention.
Right.
But this AB book is coming now, and this was it wasn't me, it was God. I didn't even, hello, okay.
All right. Nice. That's beautiful.
Because I feel because I felt like the devil was hard. He was three, he was working 24/7,
Yes.
and so I just thought, okay, I can't do that. I
Yeah.
have to stay focused, and I just call on God.
That's it, and that's all. So if your younger self back in South Philly could read this book, what do you think she'd say or feel?
Uh,
Hmm.
well, you could have told me this, because then I wouldn't have to go through all that crap.
Right. That's a good response. Well, I think I got through all of them questions for you because you've been amazing and you're such an inspiration. You're going to motivate people. You're going to have people get off the couch and stop making excuses. I thank you so much, Denise. You are magnificent, and if I can support you in any way, I got you. Always.
Yeah, I just want everybody to know it's not easy to do, but it's definitely attainable to do, and you just have to be kind to yourself and patient.
Exactly, exactly. But I really appreciate you guys for who's watching out there. It's been quiet today because I messed up the link. That's my fault, but I will get this back out. I promise. So I just want to say thank you so much for tuning in today to this episode. Our guest's journey from the depths of childhood to healing and self-empowerment. It's a powerful, powerful and testament to the strength of human spirit. That's what we got today here. If her story resonated with you, please like, comment, and get the book. Go to Amazon, go to the website. It's just outof right? Well, people should know.
www.outorespectbook.com.
Yeah, I always leave it off. Apologies. So go get the book, subscribe for more conversations like this. And I want you to remember something, no matter what, no matter where you are in your journey, guys, your story is worth sharing. So take care of yourselves, take care of each other. And I'll see you next Sunday. Make sure you
Bye-bye.
subscribe and buy the book. All right. Hang out
Thank
with me for a
you.
minute. Hang out with
Okay.
me for a minute while I say goodbye to everybody. Thank you, Joe, for the I don't know what you call them, stars. I appreciate you. Thank you. I saw you. I saw somebody else there. I saw somebody else. I forgot. Sophia and somebody else. I can't see you on YouTube. I see you there, but I can't tell who you are. But I thank you. We appreciate you. And we'll see you next week. Hang out with me.